Most of you aren't subscribed. Make sure to subscribe, as it helps out the channel. Without further ado, the season follows several idol girls, masterfully entertaining the crowd, but zooming out, we see our MC wishing that he would have attended her concert. Our MC notes how the idol group B Kamachi houses the 16-year-old I along with 6 others, a group that blew up only after 4 years since their debut. Suddenly, a nurse turns on the room's light, scolding our MC for using a patient's room for their television, revealing our MC to be a doctor. Getting serious, our MC declares that watching something beautiful is great for one's health, depressed upon remembering that he's currently stationed in the countryside, but the nurse cuts the doctor off, revealing some bad news. Seeing that I has announced that she'll be taking some time off from her idol career, our MC sheds tears, feeling bad for the poor girl. When the nurse accuses our MC of being a lolicon, our MC reveals that back when he was still training to be a doctor, he ran into a special someone at this exact hospital. Sitting by a sick girl, Serena, our MC watches as Serena excitedly watches the Kamachi idol group perform, loving I in particular since I is the same age as Serena. When Serena voices that she wants to be reborn as beautiful as I, our MC shoots down Serena's silly dreams, but Serena asks if our MC could at least imagine a new life as an idol's child. Not wanting Serena to be fixated on her fantasies, our MC reminds Serena that she has the looks to become an idol herself, promising to support her all the way, which Serena is grateful for. Sadly, Serena passed away soon after at the age of 12, but our MC knows that if Serena was still alive, she would have been 16 just like I. Our MC notes how he probably is following I all because Serena loved I, but the nurse accuses our MC of having other dark thoughts, asking our MC if he would still date I if she offered. Refusing to answer, they head off to lunch. Afterwards, our MC heads in to check on a patient, Hoshino, who is 20 weeks out since her pregnancy but it's her first time being examined. Wondering if the girl has had a sad life, our MC asks if the yellow-haired man beside him is her father, but the man states that Hoshino grew up in a children's home and that he's simply her guarantor. Realizing that Hoshino's backstory sounds familiar, our MC realizes that his favorite idol I is sitting right before him, heading out to prepare the tools to examine her pregnancy. Outside the room, our MC fangirls over the thought of getting to see I in person, but gets sick realizing that she is now pregnant. Eavesdropping on the man and I, the man seems to be the president of her agency, demanding to know who got I pregnant, but I refuses to answer. After some examinations, our MC confirms that I is 20 weeks pregnant with twins, exciting I, but the man reminds I that both their careers are over if she gives birth. Conflicted, I asks for our MC's professional opinion, but our MC says that I should take some time and really think about her final decision. Out in the waiting area, our MC overhears some patients adoring another idol that had recently gotten married, but the patients wonder if they can truly keep supporting an idol who has a husband and kids. Out on the balcony, our MC promises to support I forever, but does admit that I's career will plummet once she announces her pregnancy, asking the photo on his phone screen if she agrees as well. Out of nowhere, I appears, admiring how beautiful the scenery is. Our MC asks if I chose a remote place like his hospital to avoid her fans in Tokyo, surprising I as she wonders how our MC knows she's an idol, but our MC simply states he used to have a patient that loved I. Our MC takes the chance to ask if I is going to give up her idol career, but I declares that she's never had a family, hoping to live a happy life with her twins, but also continue being an idol. Smirking, I plans to keep her children a secret for as long as possible, but I does admit that she is being greedy, wanting to enjoy the spoils of being a mother and idol. Infatuated by I's determination, our MC agrees to support I all the way, first by recommending that I use an alias whilst staying at the hospital. Next, our MC asks if I is fine with any delivery method, confirming that I can handle a natural delivery even if it's painful. For the next few weeks, our MC ensures that I undergoes proper exercise for her upcoming delivery, cutting to 20 weeks later when I is finally ready to give birth. I asks that our MC return as soon as she calls, something our MC promises, only to leave for the night. As our MC walks home, he thinks about how sad it is that he won't get to spend more time with I, but is relieved to hear that I will have a happy future. Suddenly hearing a voice, our MC turns around, hearing a person ask if our MC is the doctor looking after I. Knowing that I is under an alias, our MC demands to know how the person figured out I is at his hospital, chasing after the stalker in fear that they may harm I. Having made it to a cliff, our MC loses sight of the stalker, suddenly shoved off the cliff by the mysterious person. Barely breathing, our MC struggles to move, fearing that he'll break his promise to I, but our MC's vision slowly begins to fade. As I goes into labor, Our MC remembers Serena's dream of wanting to be reborn as an idol child, but as our MC begins wishing the same thought, we see the stalker stand over our MC. Cutting to I, we see she has successfully delivered her twins, but as some time passes by, it's revealed that MC has been reborn as I's son, given the name Aquamarine Hoshino. Although Aquamarine is still in shock that he has memories of his previous doctor life, Aquamarine accepts his new life, especially since he gets to stay by I and not have to work all day. Just then I heads to her baby girl, Ruby Hoshino, someone that Aquamarine is jealous of as Ruby has a more simple life than his. As I mistakes Ruby for Aqua, her agency president appears, scolding I for easily forgetting people's names, revealed to be Ichigo Saito, the president of Strawberry Productions. Ichigo declares that they'll be preparing for I's comeback, asking that I head to the music program later tonight, and Ichigo's wife, Miyako Saito, will look after I's children. I voices how weird it is that Ichigo married such a young woman, asking if she can bring Aqua and Ruby to the recording studio with her, but Ichigo states that I is to not bring her children anywhere public. Ichigo reminds I that all their careers are at stake, and that I is to declare Aqua and Ruby as Ichigo and Miyako's children if asked. Glad to see that the president and his wife are ready to cover for I clumsily almost flashes Ichigo, but luckily Aqua had prevented it from happening. With I heading to work, Miyako is seen slumped on the couch, mad that she's stuck taking care of children, but Aqua takes the chance to watch I on the television. Bikamachi manages to get through their first session, but the cameramen along with several producers voice how boring it is that so many idol groups these days are mass-produced, all agreeing to cheer on their clients if it means they can keep their jobs. As a producer counts the girls in, I puts on her idol mask, dazzling the producers and the cameramen, something Aqua notes is the reason I has retained her idol status even after a 6-month hiatus. Like moths drawn to a flame, I's fans watch her perform, but out of nowhere Ruby wakes up, asking why Aqua didn't wake her up to watch their mom perform. Ruby begins praising and complimenting how gorgeous AI is, demanding to know why Aqua didn't wake her up, but Aqua states that he already tried several times. Aqua reveals that he found out Ruby was reborn just like him, having one night found Ruby replying to mean tweets that are attacking I, and has confirmed that Ruby shares the same fate as his own. Aqua feels bad for I, since her children aren't normal children, but at the same time we see the stalker grow furious learning that I had given birth to children. Returning home from work, I asks if Aqua would like to be breastfed, but being embarrassed, Aqua asks to drink out of a bottle instead. Hearing Ruby cry, I rushes to breastfeed Ruby, but Aqua glares at Ruby, believing that she is crossing the line. As Ichigo arrives to fetch I for her idol duties, Aqua demands to know if Ruby was at least a girl in her past life, relieved to hear so. Ruby declares that she'll protect her precious mother for as long as possible, but suddenly orders Aqua to give her space, crying to Miyako that she needs a diaper change. As Miyako changes Ruby's diapers, she reveals that she had married Ichigo, hoping to meet lots of handsome guys, but instead she's stuck babysitting. Having had enough, Miyako declares that she'll sell I's pregnancy story and earn lots of cash, but seeing as Miyako is going around snapping photos of I's pregnancy, Aqua and Ruby agree to team up and stop her. Appearing on a table, Aqua begins speaking out loud, shocking Miyako as she believes she's being filmed for a prank TV show, but upon hearing Ruby declare that Aqua and herself are gods, Miyako stiffens up. Ruby states that I is currently protected by gods, ordering Miyako to conceal I's pregnancy, and in exchange they promise Miyako will get married to a handsome young man, something that inspires Miyako to begin working hard. Pleased by their performance, Aqua asks if Ruby performed in any plays in her past life, but Ruby utters that she was raised in an unusual place. That night, Aqua takes care of Ruby, reminded of Serena who acted just like Ruby, but as Ruby is told to head to bed, Ruby thinks about how Aqua reminds her of the doctor that took care of her. Having been some time since I returned to her idol life, I is disappointed that she is only being paid 200,000 yen per month, something that Miyako agrees is the harsh reality. I declares that she'll work harder if it means she can support and watch Aqua and Ruby grow up, heading off to class, as she leaves the kids in Miyako's care. Ruby asks why idols don't make a lot of money, but Aqua states that idols usually split the money for songs and most income is generated from merchandise. Mad Ruby asks Miyako why their mother isn't getting paid more, but Miyako reveals that the idol business is a cruel world, where most idols are forced into low-paying jobs or even hostess jobs to scrape by. Miyako does admit that Bikamachi is an outlier when it comes to idol groups, but this is mainly because of I herself, but even though I is a top-class idol, her influence doesn't extend outside the idol sphere. Taking a break from practice, I gets hit by a mean comment accusing I of being fake, but Ai soldiers on to her next mini-concert where Ai spots that Miyako has bought her children to cheer her on. Aqua and Ruby accidentally draw attention to themselves during the concert, but luckily nothing comes out of two random kids appearing at Ai's concert. With some more time passing, Ruby continues to cling onto Ai, whilst Aqua attempts to keep their rebirths a secret, but Ai does find it strange how her kids are capable of perfect speech. Brushing off Aqua and Ruby as simply geniuses, Ai manages to pick up more gigs as a radio assistant, heading into her minor role in a drama with her kids, but Miyako reminds Aqua and Ruby to not stand out. Arriving on set, the director gets suspicious as Aqua and Ruby, but brushes them off as Miyako's children. Having been given too much attention, Aqua heads outside for some fresh air, suddenly running into the director who orders Aqua to not cause a scene while they're filming, but is surprised to hear that Aqua is so well spoken for his age. Attempting to recruit Aqua as a child star, the director hands Aqua his business card but Aqua firmly declines, asking that the director hand off any roles to Ai instead. Giving Aqua some advice, the director reveals that most dramas house a star actor, the person that draws in eyes from the audience. Next is the real talent, an actor that ensures the overall drama is of a certain quality, and finally is the newcomers, people that many don't expect much from, but people invest in the newcomers in hopes that they'll blossom one day. Hearing this, Aqua states that his mother should be fine since she is a world-class idol, but the director states that being an idol isn't enough to make it in this world. With some more time passing by, Ai and her children get ready to see Ai's performance in the drama, but upon seeing that most of Ai's roles were cut, Aqua calls the director asking why Ai was cut out so much. The director sadly reminds Aqua that it's a dog-eat-dog world, and ultimately the agency with the greater power, ultimately decides which actors get more screen time. Refusing to accept such a corrupt business, Aqua asks if there is anything he can do, learning that the director will give Ai another role if Aqua himself takes part as well. Arriving on set, the director promises to give Ai more roles in the future if Aqua himself performs well, learning that Aqua has officially been enrolled in Strawberry Agency as well. In the waiting room, Ruby begins crying since she's spending time away from Ai, something Aqua doesn't blame Ruby for yearning, especially since kids should be enjoying their youth and not working. Just then, a redhead appears, scolding Aqua and Ruby for not taking things seriously, introducing herself as Kana Arima, a film actress. Hearing that name, Ruby racks her brain to remember who Arima is, but Ruby does note how she doesn't like Arima's cocky attitude. Arima voices how Aqua wasn't originally in the script, having heard from her mother that director added Aqua last minute, taking the chance to also insult Ai for her sloppy performance in her recent drama. With Arima ordering the assistant director to carry her belongings, Ruby and Aqua get pissed knowing that such an arrogant kid has insulted their mother, but they hold back their emotions, cutting to later that day where the director tells everyone the film is about a woman who ventures into a shady-looking hospital in the mountains in hopes for some plastic surgery. Aqua and Arima have been assigned the roles of creepy children haunting said women in the film. Seeing Arima act for the first time, Aqua admits that Arims is truly a child prodigy, amazed to see Arima blend in perfectly with the horror aspect of the film. But knowing that he must impress the director, Aqua simply acts as himself, reciting the lines, which actually impresses the director more, as Aqua's nonchalant demeanor in a spooky setting is very unsettling. With the scene filmed, Aqua receives praise of his acting, but at the same time Arima marches towards the director, asking to reshoot the shot as she admits that Aqua was the better actor in the scene. Sadly the director refuses, as later that evening, the director asks what Aqua thinks is the most important element for actors. When Aqua says it must be drive and effort, the director corrects Aqua, revealing that it's actually communication, realizing that the director has been slowly training Arima in order to prevent Arima from growing up to be a cocky actor. The director praises Aqua for interpreting his script how it should be intended, but Aqua simply says he was being himself, something the director knows isn't true as Aqua was not only able to understand the director's vision from the script but was also able to figure out what the director had envisioned for his film. With Aqua refusing to pursue an acting career, we see Arima that night learning of Aqua's name, promising to outperform him the next time they meet. Having already been 3 years since he was reborn, Aqua reads up on how the director had received an award for his screenplay, pleasing Aqua as he was part of said film. Aqua admits that it was ultimately Ai's performance that carried the film, ultimately giving Ai the opportunity to expand her idol persona into other avenues, and Ai isn't even 20 yet. Reading some news articles, Aqua sees that his former body has yet to be found, but Aqua has other things to worry about as himself and Ruby have officially started preschool. Aqua takes the chance to ask who Ruby truly was in her past life, but fearing that Aqua will look down on her for being a mere child in her previous life, Ruby lies, stating that she was a grown woman in her past life, asking Aqua to not pry into her past too much. With Ruby enjoying her time at the park, Aqua receives some weird looks from the caretakers, having been spotted reading a difficult book. That evening, a caretaker tells the children that they'll be practicing for a dance routine to show off to their parents, but Ruby gets terrified upon learning this, running away. Forced to search for Ruby, Aqua finds Ruby hidden behind a tree, suspecting that Ruby had been a shut-in in her previous life. Hearing this, Ruby remembers the times when she would struggle to even take a few steps out of bed, but Aqua reminds Ruby that she has been given a second chance at life for a reason. Choosing to spend some time in a dance studio, Ruby ends up tripping over herself, not used to her new body, but is encouraged by Ai to give it another go after a break. Seeing Ai dance, Ruby points out how Ai's performance is a little off, impressing Ai as Ruby admits Ai's dance performances were the only things she watched whilst hospitalized. Seeing Ruby falling once more, Ai realizes that Ruby has been bracing herself every time she falls, something that has been ingrained into Ruby as she would fall often in her past life. With some inspirational words from Ai, Ruby chooses to give her all into this new life, reciting the moves she watched Ai perform as an idol, amazing Aqua as he secretly watches Ruby pull off some dazzling moves. A few days later, Ai is seen making a secret phone call to the father of Aqua and Ruby, asking if he would like to visit and see how much Aqua and Ruby have grown. Something I thought was a good idea, having overheard Ruby and Aqua speculating they never had a father to begin with and Ai was impregnated through other means. With Ai giving the mysterious man their new address, she notes how she has already obtained 1 million followers on social media, cutting out later that night where Ichigo is drinking in celebration of Ai's success, holding back when Miyako reminds Ichigo that Ai isn't 20 yet so she can't drink. Just then, they overhear that the news reports about Ai's sudden boom in success, exciting Ichigo as he cries Ai will finally get to perform in a dome. Ai wonders what is so special about performing in a dome, learning that a dome performance is by far the hardest location to gain clearance for and is a dream managers and CEOs only dream of. Seeing everyone in a good mood, Ai plays along, even lying about not wanting to meet up with the father of Aqua and Ruby, if it means that Ichigo will be happy. Flashing back, we see a young Ai having a meeting with Ichigo, having scouted Ai to become an idol. Grateful, Ai refuses the offer, revealing that she only knew her mother and was left to live in a children's home after Ai's mother was arrested for theft. Ai mentions how she has never loved anyone or anything, hoping to scare Ichigo away, but instead Ichigo praises Ai's honesty. Ichigo reveals that idols lie all the time, pointing out how Ai probably does want to love, but just doesn't know how to just yet, encouraging Ai to live a life full of lies in hopes that the lies may come true one day. Hence started Ai's journey to become an idol, in hopes that she can truly discover the meaning of love, but Ai admits that she fears that her lies will get her in trouble one day. With the day of the Dome concert arriving, Ai suddenly gets a ring at the door, opening it only to see a mysterious man congratulating Ai on all of her success. Sadly, from the bouquet of flowers, the man stabs Ai with a hidden blade, forcing Ai to relive her life with her children as her life flashes before her eyes. Revealed to be the stalker, who cries out that he despises Ai for constantly lying to everyone, but Ai takes the chance to admit to her faulty life. Ai states that she truly is sorry for living a life of lies, something the stalker refuses to believe is sincere, but upon hearing that Ai remember the stalker as Ryosuke, a fan that would frequently attend Ai's handshake events, Ryosuke begins to break down, fleeing out of panic. Rushing to call for help, Aqua cries for Ai to not move, but Ai can only feel sorry for all the fans that will be disappointed by her disappearance. With Ruby demanding to know what happened, Ai simply apologizes for not getting to dance with Ruby in the future and see her become an idol, and that she won't get to see Aqua become a full-fledged actor. Seeing a picture of them on the wall, Ai wishes she could see her kids grow up, but seeing as this is her last chance, Ai finally says she loves her children, finally passing away. With news of Ai's passing echoing through town, the police report that the murderer had also chosen to take his own life, but even though many fans mourn Ai's passing, people online still state Ai got what she deserved. Seeing all the disgusting comments regarding Ai's death, Ruby can't help but break down into tears, screaming at the keyboard warriors who use Ai's death to satisfy their own actions. Within 3 days, Ai's passing had been forgotten, and Ichigo and Miyako had officially adopted Aqua and Ruby. Alone in a car, Ruby wonders if she should become an idol just like what Ai had hoped for, but Aqua reminds Ruby that the life of an idol is a rough journey, suggesting Ruby live a normal life. Aqua admits that Ruby will probably grow up fine, but as for himself, he can't see himself living in a world where Ai is no longer in. Suddenly, Aqua remembers that the stalker and the man that shoved him off the cliff was the same person, able to locate Ai in the hospital she gave birth along with the new apartment she moved into. Strange as the stalker must have been fed such information. Aqua deduces that Ichigo, nor any of Ai's idol friends or relatives would have sold her out, meaning that their father must have been the only person that knew what Ai was doing. Knowing that he now must hunt down their father and avenge Ai, Aqua approaches the director, asking if the director would raise him. Several years later, where Aqua and Ruby have grown up, both heading off to their first day of school and starting a new chapter in their lives. Check out one of our other videos on the screen or in the info card above. Subscribe, like and comment.